Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to VP4 TV. That was awful, that Michael Buffer thing. Well, we're not here for Friday Night 9-Ball again. Welcome, everybody. We're going to keep an eye on Friday Night 9-Ball because once again it's a full house. I hope everybody can hear me. Give me a yes to that, please. Welcome to Slim. Welcome to Dwight. Welcome to Wit. Welcome to WizKid. We had a match earlier on today, Tornado Tam from Scotland against Woody from England. I got home from work as quick as I could. I had to get something to eat and I came in. There were about 60 odd points on the board, I think, were pretty much both of them in the first rack. And Woody got to 91st, I think, and then, to cut a long story short, he eventually won the first rack. And then Woody couldn't score in the rest of the match, really. He couldn't really put anything together. Tam gave him enough chances. Tam faffed about a fair bit. But in the long run, it was a comfortable win for Tornado Tam. So we have a Scot through to round 3 with a win of 3 racks to 1 against Woody. We're here for a match tonight. And by the way, that match earlier on today, that was a quick match. I mean, the average rack time was about 25 minutes, which is the proper pace that most of us that play Cowboy play at. I mean, Tam likes to go on with it. He doesn't hang about. And so it was probably one of the quickest matches for 4 racks of Cowboy. Now, hold on a second. Just tabbing out. There's nobody in Discord, so I don't have any confirmation whether Steve's coming in or not. But anyway, we have the match between Cobra from England and now Ervy was here earlier on. He was in away mode, and there he is. Yeah, he's from Canada as well. I thought he was from Canada. So England versus Canada. Well, the weather news is we've got an easterly wind coming in, but we've also now next week got a northerly wind coming in, which means that we're going to get the first blast of winter. The north of Scotland's going to get in the full line of fire of the snow that's coming up there. We're sheltered down here. We won't see anything. We'll just be cold. Whether that's going to lead to anything further down the line, I don't know. But certainly this is fairly early for us to see a cold blast coming in. But when you get that easterly wind, the big area of high pressure over Russia and northern Europe, this can happen. Whether it's going to carry on, we don't know. You know, you'll get mugs talking about white Christmases and all of that crap. But I've already got the heating on anyway. I'm not going to sit and get cold. I don't give a shit what the bill's going to be, but there's no way I'm sitting cold. No, I'm not going to dress any heavier. I'm not going to wear jumpers and all that crap and still be sitting with frozen fingers. I'd much rather be comfortable, take the hit and deal with it later. Just having another look there. Still no sign of Steve. So Friday Night 9-Ball is full. We could have a quick look at that. Hang on a minute. Where the hell is it? Where are we? Let's have a look at the bracket, because no doubt when this match is finished, we'll pop over and catch the end of Friday Night 9-Ball, assuming it's still on. We've got Larry against Jezdev, Popman against Bav, Mr. Fox against John Boo, Stefan against Yama. Yama's in it tonight. LS3 and Bedhead. I say Yama's in it, whether he's in the lobby or no, I don't know. LS3 and Bedhead, Chimpy and Spectre Dawn. So I think Chimpy and Spectre Dawn played last week. I might be wrong. One Pocket Slim and Travelling TT and Simanx and ZZ, who is that's Sylvia in disguise, I believe. One of our multiple profiles. So that's good again that Friday Night 9-Ball is full up. Matches remaining over the weekend at the moment. We've got Spud Boy and Sylvia, Fast Eddie and Interchange X, Sylvia and Spud Boys tomorrow night, clashing with the VP4 League. We've got Fast Eddie Interchange X 6 PM on Sunday. That'll be a good match to watch. And Bedhead and Casino Jim on Sunday at 6:30 as well, but we're going to focus on Fast Eddie and Interchange X. Meanwhile, the room is up, we'll get in, and we've got Cobra on the right and Ervy on the left, and I don't think Cobra's ever played Ervy anything. I'm assuming he hasn't, but Ervy's, well, he certainly needs to practice his lag because that was pretty poor, but Ervy's a fairly capable player at this game, although he's more familiar with the big table. Oh, you're sticking another ringer in. So that's you? Is that your team that said Cobra in it as well? You're putting ringers in every couple of weeks, cheating bastards. Right, one last tab out. Right, no sign of Steve there, so if he's going to show up, then he'll show up in the room and I'll get the hint that he's there. I'm not going to keep tabbing out. Look. I mean, I didn't put Fast Eddie in as a ringer. I put him in because we're running out of, I was running out of teammates. And I can guarantee you this match probably won't be as quick as the one earlier on today. I mean, this is Cobra pace. I think he wants to change his name to Snail and put a picture of a slug up above him. Well, the two balls have gone in. The problem now is he's dead straight in the 5 and needs a carom. This is not ideal. Cobra's going what looks like the 2 rails to the 5. So Cobra's first contribution just to 10 points, so Ervy straight away has a chance to make a statement here right off the bat. Oh, cue ball thought about it. And this is a little bit awkward as well. Whatever he pots, I mean, he could pot the 1 and try and go up to the middle of the table to play a 1-5. He needs to get high. That's not bad. That's probably where you'd want to be to give yourself a shot. But you see, Ervy's taking big risks, running the cue ball loose. You won't see Cobra doing that if he can help it. And that's what might catch Ervy out at the end of the day. It could be one of those days where you start taking heavy shots like that and then you end up finding pockets, which could be painful if you've had a decent run and then you do something like that. We'll see if it will catch up with him. And again, he tried it again. That's 2 goes he's had at scratching so far. Welcome to Spectre. Welcome to Sylvia, semi-pro. The run already goes to 29. And well, he's missed the carom. Big chance there for Ervy to build up a score, but he's failed in 32. Welcome to Blind Hog. Cobra going for the slow but sure approach. Trying not to run this cue ball any distance whatsoever. The one benefit of that is you're less likely to scratch. The downside of it, it's slow. So now I would think he's just going to go at the short rail and try and come off at an angle to leave the force follow off this 5 ball to the 1. Now he could just follow through as far as the 3 ball or head in that direction, so he's not doing anything. And you see the problem there with trying to be too delicate, he's missed the 5. Yeah, I know it was a pot, but on the pot he had to get the cue ball up top to play the 5 to the 1 once the 5 got respotted, like where the 5 is now. But Ervy's now going to get that, so that's a big mistake by Cobra. Ervy's had another go. That's 3 attempts Ervy's had at scratching. It will happen soon enough, I can assure you. And this might be actually pretty nigh perfect for a little follow through. But again, he wants to try and have a shot in the 1, and he won't have that. And well, he can cut it. And he's going to go up table, so it's about getting the pace right. I think he needs to make sure he goes left or right here. So he might want to tweak the cue ball a little bit. I don't know why he's looking at the 5. See, he's going a wee bit too square on the 5 ball, and he's going to play the big stun again, I think. Yeah. The safer shot would have been to cut the 1 in and run up table with a tiny bit of left or right in the cue ball, just so that it would go either side. But I think the main thing is he's still at the table. And again, this contribution, he's already had a contribution of 32. His second contribution's 27 and counting. So this is going to catch up with Cobra. If Cobra doesn't construct something in his next visit. And now again, he just has to be careful. He's got a good chance of hitting 1 or both here if he just plays it at a nice pace. He doesn't need to thump it. Just a nice gentle cut. And again, the cue ball running loose unnecessarily. And now he's going to have to cut the 1. And now he's back in business. Again, a nice gentle cut. Just feather the 5 and keep the 5 in play. You might be able to play the 5 next into the side. A bit like that. That's the idea. You know, you don't want to roll a ball dead if you can help it. You want to try and keep it in play. And now it's probably going to be a little draw from the 3 to the 5. You could play a delicate feather from the 5 to the 1. Well, now the 3, if he takes it, it goes in the spot up tops, which is not really good. I'd be playing the 5 coming across the table twice. Now he's trying to go behind the 1. And this is dangerous. Or if, well, I think the safest route is the shot he is playing, 1 to the 5. And the run is now 54, and he needs to watch the scoreboard here. And he needs to be careful with this 3 ball, because this cue ball could dangerously be close to that 5. He'd be better probably banking this 3 for safety's sake. He's checking the cue ball to try and avoid the 5, but why not bank it? That's probably why he's ended up missing it. He had loads of left English so that when the cue ball hit the rail, it killed it from running to the 5, but it's still a very good contribution. And that's got Cobra on the rack here straight away. 2 contributions from Cobra have mounted to 18 points. Welcome to Simanx. So Cobra's now feeling the pressure of having to dish up here. Well, the one thing about Ervy is he plays a wee bit fast and loose as well. Now, on any other day, he could have scratched about 3 times already. That's what happens in Cowboy, but so far he's got away with it. Yeah, you can keep us up to date then on the Moscone. They'll have just, well, they probably have just started after all the pre-match interviews, but as I was told earlier on today, it's 4 points all, so it's up for grabs who wins this session tonight. And Cobra's still a long way behind. He seems to have been at the table for 10 minutes already, and he's still only scored there 8 points in this visit. Now 13. Now, once he's played this shot, I'm going to have one last tab out. Right, well, Steve obviously isn't going to be here. He's still definitely not in Discord. I think with Cobra not being I'm not going to say a natural Cowboy player. I'm going to say a more experienced Cowboy player. He tends to be doing an awful lot more thinking than somebody who is a lot more familiar with layouts on this table. But he's been ultra cautious to try and always make sure that he's not doing anything that's going to cause him to scratch. Which is all very well, but you've got to score as well. And ideally, he would want to get that 5 ball into play. So that contribution is 20. And the bad news for Cobra is that Ervy's sitting plumb in the 3 ball, which will take him to 90. And he's got the easy follow-up. So now Ervy's problem is how he's manoeuvring these balls to keep them in play. Now, where the 1 ball is sitting is actually quite handy. It's going to end up these balls are moving further down the table. And now he's a bit loose. Now, once again, if he plays a cut in the 5, he's got to watch how he's playing this 5. Doesn't want to pot it. Oh, that is unlucky. Well, I think you jinxed him there with typing that in the chat. But Ervy into the caroms, 92, and this is probably Cobra might get another visit, depending on what he leaves Ervy when he finishes this visit. But I think he really must try and get this 5 ball in play, so he's working off it to just try and build the points up fairly rapidly if he can. Well, the double kiss has actually done him a little favour there. Now he can cut the 5 and head up the table and give himself a shot at 2 balls for a carom here. It's going to be at distance, so well, he's going the other way. He's trying to get a surefire carom, and this is delicate. He's going for the force follow. He's got to pick that line on that 5 ball. Always tricky at a bigger distance. So this will be a chance to get this 1 ball off that bottom rail, or the bottom rail as we look. And he's gone a wee bit straight on this 5 ball. This is, he'd much rather finished further to the left. Well, again, nothing to stop him potting the 5 and just rolling through top side of the 3 and getting that 5 on its spot. But he's going about it his own way. And once again, he's got the chance to pot the 5 and get below the 1. Or stay above the 3, or slightly below the 3, just to make it easy to get from the 3 to 5. I think he's parallel, so that's fine. Yeah, I think you're right enough. I think you're right, Slim. I think, you know, it's an unusual way to go about playing a game that is totally alien to him. But I think you've maybe hit the nail on the head. But again, he seems to have been at the table a while, but he's only got 22 points. This is why I would have been much happier for him, for his sake, if he had got this 5 ball into play and got it in the spot and tried to work with it, because that way he's getting his points up quicker. This slow but sure approach, you end up putting in an awful lot of effort, but you then don't have a lot to show for it when the visit breaks down. Well, now he's gone funny. He can't play the force follow. He's got to go to the rail and kick on the 3. And no matter how often he looks at it, this is the one he's got to be playing. Well, he can still play a delicate 3 ball. Let's have a look and see what the angle's like. What would I do here? No, it's a bit high an angle. But he can still come back up for the 5-1. And that looks like what he's going to have. The run is 31. He's on 69. Again, the force follow. Just got to get that centred line of the 5 ball and pick your side. Welcome to Hazard. Who did I miss arriving in the chat there? Who's in what black stuff? Who we talking to? Did I miss somebody's name? Well, now Cobra's in trouble. Again, he's dead straight, and it's threatening to break down. Well, he's got a 3-railer to get to the 1 ball. It's a risky one because again you're running the cue ball. You need to hit the right side of the 5 with left English and get it stunned around. Not an awful lot of left English, I don't think. He's looking for ideas here just to run into the middle of the table and maybe hit the 5 from the 1. Or possibly the 3. And this time he's picked a line. That's a good recovery. Now, what 2 words did you learn? Well, this is what Cobra needed. Deed and Dreich. Well, Deed's obvious. You know what Deed is. And Dreich is exactly like what the weather was like here today. It was damp in Dreich. We didn't have any rain to mention, but it was just damp from the rain that we had the previous night. And it's been damp in Dreich all day. No sunshine. And when you get out into damp weather, you end up getting drookit. There's another Scottish word for you. D-R-O-O-K-I-T. You come in and you're absolutely drookit. So you've learned 3 Scottish words today. And drookit, of course, is when you're just dripping with rain, when you're soaked through. And when something is disgusting or something smells horrible, it's bowfin. There's another Scottish word. Bowfin. Well, the phonetic way of spelling it is B-O-W-F-I-N. It might be B-O-U-F-I-N, but bowfin. Oh, that's bowfin. There's another Scottish word. I can come out with all of them. I'll educate you. Don't you worry. I brought numpty into VP4. Well, Cobra has made his move at the right time. Slowly but surely. He's still at the table. He's into the caroms. And he's only 2 points behind. So when Cobra felt the threat there, he knew he had to come up with a response. And this is exactly what was required. And that 5 ball is in a reasonable line for the next carom. The only problem, of course, is that the 3 ball may well be out of line. I think he's playing the force follow to try and bank the 3 up somewhere in a line down by the 1. And he's ended up focusing on that and forgot about the carom to the 5. But it's still a good run from Cobra. I think we've had 2 50s in this first rack. We've had one from Ervy, I'm pretty certain. And Cobra's run has taken to 91. And, well, Ervy's looking good for a second carom here. Again, he has to just go to the rail and come in behind the 1 gentle just to knock it into play. He doesn't want to hit this and run on along the rail. It's an easy enough shot. It's just got to be delicate. Now, if he comes out the other side of the 1, well, he sees. I mean, what did the commentator say? Oh, it's Cobra that's at the table. Well, that's even more obvious. I'm surprised he played that at that pace. A statutory? What the hell's a statutory? Have we spelt that right? I've never heard the statutory, but it sounds as if you were talking about like You know, I'll tell you what it gives me an idea of what it might mean. Is like you're going to a pub and you're sitting out in the garden at a table getting your feed. That's what it sounds like. Have we gone to the statutory the night? A conservatory, a statutory. I think my explanation's better. A statutory is a statutory's what do you call them when you've got an outside eating place at the pub? What's the name? What do they call them again? Anyway, it sounds better for that description than it does for a conservatory, because you're effectively still in the house when you're in the conservatory. So it's not really a statutory. Going to the pub and sitting out in the garden and having your chicken in a basket sounds better like a statutory. It definitely is a Hoyt one because I've never heard it. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, namely everybody else bar Nat, Nicker and myself, Hoyt is one of the borders towns down in the south of Scotland. Not a kick in the arse from the border with England. Basically, what we're talking about is rugby country. Bill McLaren country. Well, Ervy, in the meantime, with all that chat, is on 99 and Cobra is on the rack here. And he's going to have to pull off a shot here. Well, this is crying out for the three-railer or the little one that I spoke about earlier today. The little one off the 3 to the 5, which is an easy shot. Now, is this going too narrow? I think it is. Oh no, he's got lucky. The little nudge off the jaw is a bonus. I would have still went 3 to 5 there because that was an easier shot and less risk. Well, this rack is still in the balance, but Cobra again is having to pull out shots here to stay at the table. And the one thing I would advise him is to play that one ball somewhere and try and keep it safe. I think he's got to play a shot where he tries to not only get the carom and the spin work this time. And the danger for Cobra is that if he gets these two balls in such a position and he misses, then I'm expecting Ervy to be out because that one ball is ideal for getting out from. And Cobra needs to stay on his toes and be wary of that, but he's under pressure to produce again. And he's maybe trying to spin into the 3, possibly a 2-in-1 shot as well. Where's the 5 going though? This looks like a disaster. And there you go. And what did I say about the way these balls are? The 5 is sitting perfect for the 5 to the 3. Now, how he hits this 3 ball is important. There's a danger of the scratch, but ideally he would want to hit the right side of this 3. And I don't know what the hell Ervy thought he was doing there, but that ain't going to work. And that's a big fail there from Ervy. What I was about to say was he should have been trying to hit the left side of the 3 to go to about here without scratching, and then he would have had the in off the 1, but he ended up dumping up there. I don't know what was going on. And, well, Cobra's just missed the hit in the 1, and this time Ervy, once again, should have the out shot, just a feather edge off the 1 and no more. I mean, this is again a coat of paint off the 1 ball. Absolutely no touch in the 1 ball at all, just a feather edge and a dead weight pace. And he's missed it, and Ervy's eyes have gone. I mean, he got the right idea with making it thin, but not that thin. And Cobra's still alive. But again, he's going to have to play a 2-in-1 shot here. I think he has to go for it. He's a danger of potting the 3-ball and doing it, though. That's the problem. And he's going the other way. And that's a good shot. Well, now I think he wants to try and bump behind the 3 and push it up the table if he can. Try and get it up near that 5. Got to watch the cross bank in the 1 though while he's playing it gentle enough. Cobra still on 93. And this 1 ball, well, hitting the 5 would be perfect. And that will do. It'll do in terms of leaving him a shot, but how hard is he going to play this? The 1 ball's going to end up either on the short rail at the top if it's dead slow, or over on the side rail. But he's trying to push it right around. Again, thinking in his feet, trying to get it near the 3. But once again, this is awkward. He's got to make the angle and avoid potting the 1. So he's got to hit the 1 pretty straight on and maybe stun it. Or he's got the other option, which is much safer than playing the 3 and coming in behind the 1. Yeah, you see, he actually was close to potting that there. I think he'd have been better going 3 into the 1. Because he would have sent the 3 back down the table towards us. And now, of course, Ervy's got the ball where he wants it. He's got the 1 ball over the hole. But he's stuck in 99. And now everything's to Ervy's advantage. The 5 ball's not quite over the corner pocket. The 1 ball is not going to be used by Cobra, and Cobra's really struggling here. This would be a good out here for Cobra if he could do this with just the 2 balls. Ervy looks as if he's just going up and down the right hand side. This wouldn't be a bad shot. I mean, the angle he's got there, he can go that way to the 5 and have the out shot in the 1. Oh, almost again. But look at the state of the table. You've got to get right into this 3 ball. I mean, you've got to go for it. Get right into the 3 ball, get the spin working, get that direction, and something like that. I mean, you're not going to pot the 3, but what you are going to do is probably send it up the table somewhere. That's a shot. Something along those lines off that 3 ball. Well, he's following the lines. He's coming shorter. He's got the hit. Now, he can also try and squeeze the edge of that 1. Just a little bump and get it back into play. And this might work out a treat. It hasn't quite. Well, I think any other touch in this 1 ball and it's going in the hole, really. He might be able to squeeze another one out of this. Just a feather off the 3 onto the 1. He's got to risk it. I mean, there's no point in faffing about looking for other options. I think he's got to risk it. Just a little bump and a scratch on the skin of that 1 ball. The shot is there. As long as he hits this side of it like that, that's fine. Now, he's on 98. And, well, you've just got to take a risk. And now looking at the 3-ball, I think if you play the 3-ball with a bit of right English, you can straighten the line to try and get it down near that 5. You might need a bit of right English. I don't know whether you can play it plain ball because it looks as if it's going too wide of the 5 to me. So I'm looking at the line off that 3. It's going to go there, but if you hit it with right English, it'll straighten it a wee bit. He's trying to go the other way, and that's way offline. And Ervy's still in a dodgy situation here because he's got nothing easy. Well, this is on. One shot's going to do it. The worst thing that could happen here is if Ervy played the 3-railer off this 3 and ends up hooking himself in the 1. Yeah, he tried to bump the 5 and just get a roll and a touch in the 1, but that's, again, not a bad outcome. But there is a line there. It might end up in 3 rails and kicking the 3-ball. It looks pretty good off this 5. This looks perfect. That was well done. And now it's neck and neck, 99 apiece. And he can go, well, if he does go from the 5 to the 3, I think he'd be better to hit this fairly firm because he wants to get out into a straight line to get in off this 1-ball. Again, just a fraction short. And look at the snooker. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? That was a danger. If you're using the 5-ball and you're on 99, this is how it could end up. And there's not enough room to squeeze that cue ball in off the 1. It's too tight. But I think... well, in fact, the other thing is he's got to spin it around the 3 to actually get a line. Well, he made a good go at it. And where the cue ball's finished, Cobra's got a carom from the 3 to the 1. He might still get out of jail here, Cobra. But it's all down to how these lie. Oh, he's missed it. That's a big one. A big, big chance for Cobra there. Ervy, it's going to be... well, he can either play the force follow, which it looks as if it's what he's doing. He's just trying to pick the line, miss the double kiss, and that's a good out. Well, Cobra had a great chance there. But Ervy gets the first rack on the board. A good response from Cobra eventually in that rack. But it came down to the nitty gritty. He just fell short in a couple of the caroms. And IQ2 totally impartial. He's got to have a Canadian in his corner, Ervy. And IQ2 is doing the job. And this time it's Ervy that's... oh no, he was on a pot. Oh, this time he's done it. Went for the stun. Welcome to Bill. Well, I don't know how long you've been there, Bill, but you missed a very close first rack. Cobra was well behind. Ervy had put a 50-odd run together, got a good lead. Had Cobra under pressure. Cobra's first couple of visits, virtually nothing. But then Cobra got it together, put in his 50-odd run to get back into the rack. Ervy got himself fairly deep into the caroms. I think he was about 96. And eventually Cobra got there, and then it ended up right down to the wire, basically. Cobra missed a couple of vital caroms, which if he'd got them, he may well have been out. And this is going to scratch, I think. Cobra letting loose, missing the hit in the one. And this is starting off for Cobra pretty much the way the last rack started. Couldn't get off the ground really. Made a couple of contributions which weren't really anything. And then Ervy eventually got his scoring boots on. Well, he could play the 5 with a bit of right English stun to that end rail and try and bump the 1 out if he wants to risk it. Seems a fairly safe shot. Well, he tried it, but clearly the line wasn't there. Or he may well have just been trying to get bottom side of the 5. Now he'll do it now. It's perfectly easy enough to do that now. Just get the right English working. Oh, watch the cue ball though. Watch the cue ball. He's running way too loose. He needed to be a lot more gentle than that, just to bump it. And so Cobra has been let off the hook again. Now, I think what we'll do is, we know who's playing tonight. I think what we'll do is we'll go to the calendar and we'll go to, where the hell is it? Friday Night 9 Ball. And we'll bring the bracket up just to keep an eye on what's happening. Well, Larry, comfortable winning his first match against Jezdev, and he's not lost a rack yet, Larry. He's up against Popman, getting the 8-ball Popman, and Larry's 4-0 up. Mr. Fox came through on a final rack decider against John Boo, and he's 1-0 up against Stefan. Stefan getting the 6-ball. LS3 and Bedhead. Bedhead won that match in the first round, 7-3. He's down 2-1 to Chimpy, who's getting a 7-ball. And finally, One Pocket Slim, who came through against Travelling TT 7-0, is 5-3 up against Simanx. And meanwhile, in the intervening minutes, Cobra's got 7 on the board. Now, did he get any of that 5-ball? I don't think so, did he? No. I'll look at the way these balls are sitting now. It's got to be... Well, you could play the stun from the 3 to the 5 or from the 5 to the 1. He's went 5 to the 1. The 5 needs to get out of the way so he can pot the 3 and he'll be in business. And if he just rolls through, well, he can also do the 5 and get the 5 in the spot, provided the spot's clear. And the spot is clear. Well, again, this is landed very handily indeed. 1 ball up near the 5 spot, 5-ball down the rail. Maybe want to try and just squeeze the cue ball out a tad, or is he going too straight? He might be okay. No, he's fine. This might be going into the side pocket. If not, it's going to be hanging over it. And that's not bad either. Same again. Pot the 5. Finish up top side, and then you've got the 5 to the 1 or the 5 to the 3. Well, that looks a wee bit thin. Yeah, he wanted. I mean, he can still play the force follow, and the 5 will get out of the way and he'll get to the 1. He looks as if he's going to a rail to come into this, but I think he can just Yeah, he's blasted it, but he could have played the force follow. The only worry would have been running into the 5 again. But once again, the 5's finished over the hole, so he can keep doing this all night and he'll build the score up quick. Now he's got greedy. But that 3 ball has bounced into play and he's dead straight. So he's trying to get to the 1 and he's got to watch the cue ball. I don't know whether that 1 ball pots. No, I'm not. I'm not sat in my underpants, even though I've got the heating on. I've got the heating on because it's chilly. But I'm not that warm. That's only for the summer months, when it's like, you know, when I've got the PC on all day, and I don't have my windows open in the summer because I get hay fever. So, I mean, it gets like 84 degrees in this room. And I've got the fan on and everything. Then I'm sitting naked. When you're sitting down for like 3 hours, everything sticks to you, so you don't want that. Well, this is definitely taking a similar pattern in that Cobra had a couple of little goes early on, didn't really have anything to show for it, and then all of a sudden Ervy started scoring, and he's already on 35, and he's still looking good here. I mean, this is as easy as you're going to get to make a carom to the 3. Now again, there's a reasonably good follow up. Make sure you finish top side or square to the left side of the 1 ball so you can get to the 3 like that. That's square to the 1 I was talking about. That's a good line. Parallel to the 1 ball isn't a bad thing as long as you've got a ball down here to work with. And now the 1 ball's gone in. He could then take the 3 and make sure he stays the right side of the 1, so he's got a fairly straightforward 3 to the 5. And this is building up nicely here. And it's going to put Cobra to the test again, but I always fear, now I'm the one to talk, but I always fear when somebody like Ervy, the way he's been shooting, gets to 40, whatever it is, 45, and he's running it a bit loose more than often, he's going to come a cropper at some point. (4-2) to Van Boning and Strickland. Well, that'd be a good start for the Yankees. They'll be hooping and hollering there. Well, look at how wild that got, and again he's got away with it. But more importantly, he has kept his points. The run ends on 48, and the lead is 50 points. So there's Cobra's target straight away. Oh, Parliament must have been in the beers. He stumbled into the VP4 lobby. We'll soon find out if he ends up in on YouTube or Twitch. Yeah, I watched that last night. I think Earl's got a deep sea diving belt on with about 300 weight of lead in it by the look of him. Did you see that? Not only has he got his platform shoes on, so he looks like Steve Chaplin. He's now 6'7" at the table. He's also got a deep sea diving belt on with 300 weight of lead in it. Well, DAZN, it streams live stream sports. Cue ball. Well, this time Ervy's been caught out, and Cobra still stuck in 7. And now's the time for Cobra to make inroads into that deficit. $5, €5 a full season pass. What for? That's bloody cheap. Are you sure it's only €5? That's really cheap. Now, what do you get out of that, though? When it says a full season pass, does that allow you to watch everything? I don't think it'd be as cheap as that if I went onto that website. I bet the rip us off for like 30 quid or something in the UK. Well, that's neither here nor there. I mean, he's going to have to just run the cue ball into the 5. Try and get that 5 up the table if he can. But cue ball running loose again. Guess where it's going to find? The pocket. And Cobra's still stuck in 7. And that was not a difficult carom to the 5. Again, I say any Cowboy player is always hitting that 5 ball. Cobra's just not familiar enough with those regular angles that you get in Cowboy. I'm going to look at that probably tomorrow if I remind myself. I'm going to have a look at that. But there's also a good, was it Hazard that gave me a link for that Japanese website? Sorry, not Japanese. I think it's Chinese. The Chinese website, if you like watching snooker, they've got the Scottish Open on it. Of course, it's Chinese commentators, and they're obviously keeping an eye on a lot of the Chinese players in it. But the quality of the stream's absolutely perfect, and you don't have to register. You can register if you want, but you don't have to. As soon as you go to it, you've got the live streams that they've got running. You just click on one of them, and then it comes up to another main screen. Which if you just click the main screen, at the end, is it Yoku or something? It's called. Can't remember what it's called, but it's certainly good if you like watching a bit of snooker. There's Blind Hog using his chat up lines that he uses in all the chat rooms with all the ladies. Send me your password and ID. That's his opening line. Needless to say, that's why he's still stuck in VP4. And he's also watching my live stream. Well, Cobra's finally got to 10. Now, can he keep them? Oh, that's maybe finished a wee bit ugly, has it? No, he's fine. Yeah, I think Sylvia's got the right idea. She'll send you €5 just for you to never approach her again. Yeah, here's €5. Go and play the freeway. Good evening to Tam. Tam, I've found out what we're all doing wrong. We're running the ball far too loose most of the time. Ervy's been doing it. although he's won the first rack. But we're definitely running the ball far too loose. It's just the way we play it. But well done in the win anyway. He had his chances. And it was amazing how I came into the room there. I had to go to get something to eat when I got home from work time. I knew the match was on, and I finished at 9:45. So there's me hurtling down the M77 at 90 miles an hour this morning. And I got home, and I hadn't had my morning break. And I got something to eat, and then as soon as I come into the room, Tam misses his shot. The voodoo was working straight away. You played a couple of stupid shots, didn't you? Not long after that. I mean, I was scratching my head, thinking, what the hell's going on here? A couple of proper duff shots you played. Oh, that was the batteries running down, wasn't it? On your wireless mouse. Your rechargeable wireless mouse. Which I would never have. I'm strictly a wired man when it comes to mice. I don't trust wireless mice now, and I can't be arsed running for batteries and stuff like that crap and plugging it in. And I mean, it's a wireless mouse, but you still end up plugging it in to charge it. When I had a PS3, you know, it had a rechargeable handset. I always kept it plugged in. I never used it wireless. Well, again, I always get the feeling that Cobra's been at the table for 25 minutes and in this visit, and he's only got 13. Now, he doesn't want he's blocked the one spot, which has actually worked out nice. One ball goes back onto its spot, and that 5 ball's now a bit loose in the corner. So this makes it very missable. And I've forgotten he's actually playing a pot again. Yeah, play the 3 ball, leave yourself wide open in the 1-5 carom. That's the sort of safe route as far as having sight of a shot. And he's come up to the shallower angle, which is actually probably safer as well. You can just skim the one. He could take a bit of a risk here and cut the 5 and try and bump the 1 as well. But the problem there is he's then relying on a good roll of the ball to have another carom to follow up. So if he goes sort of uppish on the 1 ball, he's still leaving himself, and that's a good enough height that he can get to the 5. Just got to be careful here that he doesn't go behind it and scratch and bump off the back end of it. Well, he can end up going for a similar shot here, but he's got to manoeuvre the cue ball this time a wee bit more. And as long as it keeps tracking to the parallel line on the 1 ball, he's still pretty good. Now this time he wants to go to the long rail and come in behind the 5. It's the safest shot. And Now he's almost back in business here. He's got an easy pot into the side. He's got an easy carom to follow. But he still hasn't got rid of that deficit yet. Well, we've got 9 on YouTube, 10 if you include myself. How many's on Twitch? Surprisingly, YouTube's the one that's had more on it recently. I don't know why. 10 on Twitch as well. So we've got 19 watching. Yeah, see, I thought that. Blind Hog said it's like $20 for DAZN. Well, I could get you a link, Hog, but I'd have to tab out. I had a good stream last night on that bosscat.net. If you type in bosscat.net as in BOSSCAT, but you need to be in the external browser and have an ad blocker on. You should be able to find the Moscone Cup there and the links that they have. So 4-all, final rack decider. USA looking for a ball and a shot and a run out to go into a 5-4 lead overall. Meanwhile, Cobra is still at the table. He is still scoring, but he's still behind. But he's only 11 behind now. Oh, have I just blown out? I've just let the cat out of the bag there, Tam. Now it's either top side or go in behind the 5. So he's going top side. Still looking good. Run goes to 38 and counting. He's got the backup ball over the pocket. So the one ball is a bailout as and when he needs it. Now, what does he do? Does he pot the 5 or does he play the 3-1 at the moment? And at least get the 1 back in its spot. I mean, if he plays the 5 and gets the 5 back in its spot, he's got to make sure he's got a good line to get to the 1 and 3. So this all hinges on this cue ball. He doesn't want to finish straight in this. Well, he's had a good look, so he's going to go to the rail and just bump. He's going to the rail just to bump the 3 and 1. 1 ball might drop in. But he's just got to be careful he doesn't thump it. And that's fine. So now we're all square. The run is 45. 67 points apiece. I'll have a quick drink again. Your match this morning, Tam, the average rack time was about 25 minutes. Well, this match is an hour and 5 minutes old, and we're nowhere near finishing the second rack. So the draw carom to the 3. The 3 on its spot. The 5-3 is a good carom to follow. Oh, you would have needed to be really quick. I was going to get some of the match, regardless. I missed the first 10 minutes. A little firm stun here and bank the 5 back up the table. Well, it's went into the jaws. And this is still not too bad. Cut that 3 in. Get himself over to the right side. And he's got an easy 1-5. And this is where you don't want to... It's so easy to get so focused on what you're doing, and then you end up not paying attention to the HUD. Strickland missed an easy pot, so Europe is in. And Cobra's still in. He moves on to 56. He's got an 11-point lead. Yeah, if you pot the 5 and the 3, you get 8 points for the 5 and the 3, but you also get the point for the carom from the 5 to the 3. But if you also then pot the 1, you get the point for the 1, and you get the point for the carom to the 1 as well, which adds up to 11, I believe. It's a sort of rare scenario that happens. Usually it's a lucky roll of the ball that it will do it. You're never really going to get them set up where you say, "Oh, I'm odds on here to get the full boona." You just need that lucky roll of the ball. This is a good contribution from Cobra. It's all about keeping the points now. Now he's on 64, but he's on 86 in total. That takes him to 89. And now he's also then got the force follow to get to 90. So the contribution is 68. How brave is Cobra going to be? Because he could end up banking this 3 if he's trying to go. If he's sending the 3 that way, he doesn't want to put it in a line that's scratching it, because he's trying to come off the 3 to get to the 1 if he's going that way. But I don't think he likes that idea. He's trying to go 5 to 3. And look at the path that cue ball was taken. But the run ends on 68. He's on 90. And Ervy back at the table, looking for a response. So that was well done. And Ervy trying to get the bonus point on that 1 ball to leave an open table. But he's finished pretty good though. So will Cobra come back to the table behind Ervy? I mean, there's a strong likelihood that could be the case. Now I think now would be just as good a time to get rid of that 1 ball and get below. Well, he's played the draw. Ervy's 11 points away. That will do absolutely perfect. This is what you like, an easy follow-up shot. Well, he would have liked to have finished on the 5 ball. He's going to have to do it the slightly more complicated way. So Van Boning and Strickland got that final rack then. USA with a 5-4 lead, race to 11. Meanwhile, Ervy continues on. Well, big problems now. 5 ball is dead over the side pocket. And this rack could go on for another half hour yet, because I wonder if any of these two guys are going to take the risk and get rid of that 5 ball at some point and try and bring it back into play. I think you've got to wait for the right time to take that risk. The way the balls are now, there's no way you should be trying to pot the 5 or play a tactical pot in the 5. That'll scratch off the 1. And again, it's not a good position to bring the 5 into play. 1 ball, of course, dead in the kitchen. Ervy has to play up table. That's going in behind the 1. You've got to just stay on your toes in this situation. I mean, it's really hard work to try and make caroms with just the 2 balls on the table. And that's going to scratch as well, almost. Not, well, brave shot, but it's worked out. I don't know whether he can get to the 3 though. I think he's... No, he's okay. He can see the 3. So he goes to 91. Well, Ervy doesn't play as much Cowboy, but I mean, he's used to the bigger table, there's no doubt about that. Well, the 2-railer. Well, he's going the other way, cutting across the 1, or he's looking at cutting across the 1, but I think the 3 to the 1 is the shot. There's always the danger of the scratch, but you know, you're never going to win a game if you don't take a risk now and again. And he's going to scratch, I think. Commentator called it again. And this is still no good for pushing that 5 ball in the pocket and bringing it into play. These balls have to be in a certain area to make it worth your while to take that risk. Well, this is an ugly setup here. You could go right side of the 1 to the short rail, to the side rail, and try and get into the 3 that way like that. But he needed, I think, a bit of left English to open the angle a bit more. Well, Ervy should be getting a point here. But again, he's not let that get to the rail, playing a more natural shot. And still, these balls aren't in a shape where there's any value in potting that 5-ball just to bring it onto the table to make it more accessible as far as trying to put something together. This looks better. I'm beginning to go downhill here. The old sleep routine is kicking in. It's always at this time. Alright, I'm going to be back in a minute. I'm just going to put the heating off. Right, somebody tell me what happened to the 5-ball. Now, did somebody accidentally knock the 5-ball in? Or did somebody deliberately pot the 5-ball? Was it a tactical 5-ball or was it an accident? But anyway, at least it's opened the game up, having the 5-ball back in play. And Cobra has a slender lead. The run is 3. Now, one rail direct to the 1. Just skimmed past it. This just needs to be a feather-light touch again. Trying to keep the 1 in play to play the 1 to the 3 to follow. The problem now is he's going to have to cut across the 1 and go to the rail. He can't play the force follow with any comfort because he's going to pot that 1. Now, 3 to the 5. Big distance. But if he plays it at the right pace, he's keeping the 3 down this end of the table and he's actually finished top side of the 5. So at least, see, he's at least given himself an option. It might not be easy, but he's at least given himself that, the way this is finished. And likewise, with this setup, he's got a choice either way. He's just got to make his choice and stick with it. But the run is 5. And this, is it going to get across? Not quite. But it's got him the lead. 3-point lead. Now I'm going to see this shot and then I'm going to tab out and kill Discord. I've left that line open. And Cobra scratches back in a second. That gets rid of that. And Ervy, well, he's got to be really thin in this 3 if he was trying to get to the 5, but he's trying to get to the 1, and that's perfect. As long as he has some sort of line. Now, well, he daren't play the force follow to the 5. Again, that was heading to the pocket, that 5 ball, but he's had a lucky roll. Goes to 98. And Ervy's just prepared to let that cue ball run and take the risk. And the way these are finished is not an easy starter for Cobra. And you would think that if he leaves anything as a set-up here without scoring from this visit, it might well be the end of the rack. Now, where's this finishing? Well, it's not finished in any sort of set-up, so he can be thankful for that. We'll have a quick look here. Well, I think you can overcut the 5. You can overcut the 5, go that way, that way, that way, and play a 2-in-1 shot. I think you can overcut the 5 and go for a 2-in-1. He's looking at it. I don't know whether he needs quite as much English. Yeah, I think he should have. I think he should have used the angle that was there rather than heaping it up. But look what's happened though. He's ran all around the corner. It went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rails onto the 3, and if you've got the pace in the ball, there's always that chance of it happening. Takes him to 99. Oh, he hasn't found a line off the 5 though, and Cobra still lives. Yeah, that shot, when I looked at that shot there, it looked as if you didn't need a great deal of English on that ball. You just had to get the right overcut on the 5. But in the end, it worked in Ervy's favour because he played it with enough pace to let the cue ball run out. And, well, Cobra is pretty much at last chance saloon in this rack. And you would think, well, this is finished awkward. It's right on the bottom rail or the top rail as we look. And that's the danger. Because the balls are sort of tightish to the rail, playing that sort of carom, it's odds on it's going to be in or very near the pocket. And Cobra with another chance. This time is a far better chance if he can keep these balls handy. And this is a pressure visit for Cobra. He's staring at 2-0 here. Is he going to pull it out the fire? Well, it's obvious the one's going to end up coming down the table. Well, that's actually very good. Nice little touch. that one ball only moved a couple of inches, and he's still got a shot from the 3 to the 5. And this is going to have to be really delicate as well then if he wants to try and keep the 3 ball handy. But if he played the 3 to the 5 and the cue ball goes that way and the 3 hasn't moved very far, see, now it's gone outward. He's hit the wrong side of the 5. And he could play the stun into the 1 and take the risk. The 3 ball's going to go up and down. He's just got to take the risk. Now, how's the 5? It looks a reasonable pace. The line is not too bad. But this is really tricky now. He goes to 98. And again, if he could, it's just a feather edge of the 3. Nice and gentle. Oh, he's looking at the force follow and pushing the 3 around the angles, doing that, and he's having another look back. It's so easy to catch this too thick with this awkward cueing. But he's just caught it. He goes to 99. Well, it's really thin off the right side of the 3. He could stun the 3 and go to the 1. He'll bring the 1 into play, and he might have an outshot. There's a danger with stunning from the 3 to the 1 in that you're banking the 3 ball around the angles. He had a good enough pace on it. And now he's got the outshot to tie the match. And this is going to average out at 45 minutes a rack here if he gets this. We're almost 90 minutes. Again, just a feather edge. And he's got it way too thin. And that's a chance come and gone. Oh, what the hell's coming through in my phone? Oh, nothing. Oh, this is going to be a gimme here for Cobra. Just stun that into the side pocket. We're definitely 1 rack all. He's not missing this. This is the gift that you want. Oh, he's drawn it. He's drawn it. It was just a firm stun. Oh, that's a bad miss. And he might well pay the price. Ervy's got a good chance here of a 2-in-1 shot. Yeah, he didn't have the line. And again, let's have a look. Well, Cobra's now stymied. He can't play the thin 1 down into the corner because he can't see enough of the 1. He could try cutting the 1 and coming into this side pocket. That would be a call. And that's what he's looking at. Into this pocket here. And too much top on it. You see how that ball curved. And Ervy, well, this is his 3rd chance. And it won't come any easier than this. And that needs to bounce, that cue ball. And that will do. And this is again the firm stun into the pocket. No draw on it. And that's what happens when you can't find your way out. Cobra had 2 gilt-edged chances there to square the match. And after an hour and 32 minutes, it's 2-0 to Ervy from Canada. Now again, Cobra spends all his life in VP3 avoiding scratches, but when you have to produce a scratch, and to be honest with you, there was two of them there that weren't all that difficult, particularly the scratch into the side, and he missed them. He didn't execute the shot properly, and he's been found out there. That was right on right within his grasp, that rack. And that's a sore one to lose. So it's a long way back now for Cobra. And what's Cobra asking? Select a pocket. It's asking, well, we need to get that reported because I've never seen that one. Is it asking a pocket letting one pocket? Well, that's weird. Well, we need to mention that to Steve. This was a start of rack 3. I wonder if it's coming up with the top-down view and it's asking him to choose a pocket just like it would in one pocket. Well, that's something Steve needs to have brought to his attention. Well, Steve's come into the room, but I don't know. Whether he's been watching the stream or whether he's heard any of that. But when Cobra needs to let him know what he saw, because obviously none of us could see what he saw, which is why he was asking the question. I was wondering why he was asking the question, but that's something I've never heard of before. Or did you tell him? Oh, so you seen it as well, or you just told him just now? Ah, I thought you'd maybe had the bug happen to you. But of course, we've got to remember this is a multi-rack match, whereas anybody playing Cowboy normally you only ever can play one rack. But that's definitely a weird little bug, that one. Well, what you can do is, Sylvia, when the stream's finished, if you look at the time in the clock, if you go like, well, you obviously go to the end of the second rack, and then you can make, well, when I think about it, Cobra's the one that needs to do what do you call it again? A 60-second clip. He needs to do a 60-second clip. But of course, we're not seeing his desktop. What am I talking about? It makes no difference. It makes no difference because nobody did a replay, but the replay would do nothing for us. It's really all down to Cobra. I mean, if he's actually recording the match, that would be a bonus, because then I'm pretty certain that if he then reran it and played it and got to that point, it should maybe show in the display what he was seeing at the time. I don't know whether Cobra does record these matches. The only thing Steve might ask is, well, you mean do a replay at the end of the rack, or a replay to try and re-show the bug? Is that maybe what he was asking? Could we? I wasn't even paying any attention. Bedhead says that you could see the call shot screen in the stream. I'll need to go and look back at that. Well, that's good. If you saw it in the stream, then obviously I can make a clip of that. Well, that's handy. Right, so I'll go to the end of rack 2 and I'll make a clip of it. And I'll just email the link. So that's fine. Rack 2. Well, that's easy enough to remember, isn't it? Well, meanwhile, we're into rack 3. Ervy with a 2-0 lead. Cobra at the table on a run of 29. And he desperately wants to make a big innings here to try and sort of ease the pressure on himself and make it a bit more comfortable heading towards the caroms. Well, at least we've got some sort of video evidence. That's irrefutable if it shows that pop up on the screen. I must admit, I totally never seen anything. I don't know what the hell I was looking at the time, but I certainly wasn't looking at the top right hand corner of the screen. In fact, I was busy reading the chat. I was busy reading at what Cobra was saying in the chat. That's what I was doing. And that pace in the cue ball looks pretty nice. Now we can bump the 3 ball into play. Well, he's hit it on the top side. It's double kissed. Still no harm done though. He's looking good here. The run goes to 41, and the 1-5 carom is fine. Just drop the 3 in and do nothing else. You're pretty much guaranteed the follow-up shot. Again, he's going to send this 1 ball in towards the long rail, but just a nice enough pace to push the 5 ball if he can hit it. Well, he's glanced off it. He needed to hit that thicker, but he's still fine. Well, I mean, if you make the choice, if you pot the 3, you've got to get square in that 3 ball or bottom side of the 3, but he's potted the 1 instead. And this again is fine. Just got to be gentle enough. Doesn't really want to pot the 3. Wants to keep it in play so he's at least got a shot. And that's gone a bit awkward, to say the least. And, well, this is a nasty cutback. I think he's maybe scared of this cutback in the 3, because this cue ball's then running all over the place at that angle. It's much better just to play the pot in the 1. He looks as if he's not going to scratch. And that's not a bad recovery. 3 to 5 or 5 to 3. It's short railing in behind either of them, whatever line he chooses. Run goes to 48. Five ball goes in. And sitting very nicely on that 5 as well. This is what he wants. He wants to be making the contributions with this 5 ball, and this will eat into the score and get him closer to that target of 90. Get there sooner rather than later, messing about with just a 1 and 3 for half an hour and scoring like 12. The run is now 60. with a carom to follow. Going to the rail. 5 ball still in play. Now, can he play the 3 in the side and get anything from it? Well, he's running away up the table slightly, but if he goes up the table slightly and far enough, he'll have the 3 to the 5, or if he stays low, now he's going high, and that's fine because there's a spot. Well, you don't really want to go behind this, and that will do. The run is now 70 with a pot to come, and the next carom might not quite be as easy. Chances are he's going to be at distance here. Well, he could play the old bailout draw if he wanted, but if he plays the force following the 5, there's a chance that 5 will run into the cue ball. So he's looking at it, but there is a chance that this could end up just kicking the cue ball out of the way. Now, how is he lining this up? He's lining it up for the force follow, but watch the 5 ball, because this 5 ball may well get in the way. No, he's going for the draw. And he's just going to catch the 1. I think he could see the danger there with that 5 ball. Played the bailout with the draw, and he's still in reasonable enough shape. Now again, potting the 1 and coming over this side, whether he finishes low or high, he's going to have the carom to the 5. Oh dear, well that's a big miss. I mean, that was not difficult. And that's a run at a 76, but it could have been more. It could have been a lot more. That was not a 1 ball to be missing. But he just jacked up there to make sure he got, I mean, he got the cue ball on the spot, pretty much. But totally forgot about lining up that 1 ball. Now, what's Ervy's response going to be? It needs to be half decent. Cue ball, the old sucker scratch. And Ervy's response is 0. I was trying to say nada and 0 at the same time there and said Nero. Well, that's a bonus for Cobra, because I'm sure he was maybe settling down here thinking that there was going to be some sort of response here from Ervy, but Ervy let loose. And Cobra now odds-on favourite to get a rack in the board here. Ervy stuck there on 0. And Cobra edging ever closer to 90. But he's got to eat into those caroms. Well, if anything's going to focus the mind, it's the scenario that we've got right now as far as Ervy's concerned. You know, he's got a 2-0 lead. It could have been 1 rack all. That rack could have went either way. Ervy now knows that next chance he gets, he's got to make a substantial contribution, or he can forget about it in this rack. Oh, he's just feathered the 1. Cobra now on 80. Pot the 5 ball if you can see it. I presume you can see the 5 ball. Well, it's touch and go whether he could. Well, that'll work. Little stun to the rail, kick in behind the 5. It doesn't look as if he's doing that. It looks as if he's playing the pot and the follow through. He doesn't want to block himself off here. Well, he's got a combo, or he's got the straight one up the table with a guaranteed carom to follow. He's on 83. That takes him to 88. And this has suddenly got a bit dodgy. He's managed to just get enough of that 5 ball there. Takes him to 89. The little cut into the side, perfectly safe. He's not going to hit anything else. And this will get him to the 90. And the cue ball will be staying in the kitchen, I would think. So he may well still have a shot from the 1 to the 3 or the 1 to the 5. He'll have a choice. Oh, he's missed the 1. Again, he's focusing so much on the cue ball and forgetting about the object ball. That's twice he's done it. So concerned about the position. You just need to make sure that you're on the right side of the table and below in the kitchen. That's all you need to worry about. I think he's trying for spot on perfection. Well, this would be some rack for Ervy to pull out the fire, because Cobra's still not got to 90. And Ervy knows what he needs to do. Simple as that. He needs a big 8. This is, as I said, this is what focuses the mind. When you come to the table in this situation, you know you can't be messing about. And you've got to take risks as well. You've got to sometimes let it loose. On a lot of days, it'll work for you, and a lot of days, you'll just be blasted out the water. You'll scratch every time. But I think regardless of having that in the back of your mind, you've just got to take the risk. You've got to let fly. If you need a bailout 3-railer, you've got to go for it. He who dares wins. But there's one thing in Cowboy, is you're never dead in Cowboy. You're never dead. It might look like it, but if you apply yourself, you get the odd lucky roll, maybe. You can string something together, and suddenly the rack takes on a different perspective as far as Cobra's concerned. Cobra's thinking he's looking good at the moment. I'm bound to get another chance. I'm guaranteed I'm going to get to the caroms before Ervy. But right now he's just hoping that that's going to be the scenario. The visit is 27 and counting. The carom from the 5 to the 3 to the 1 looked like a two-way shot, but he's got the 3 to the 1. And the 1 is in play, which should be the ball that he would play, I would think, because that way you're guaranteed to give yourself a shot. Whether you stay below it or above it, that's the rule. He's staying below it, and that will do. Nice little force follow onto the 5. 1 ball banking. Well, banking a bit firmer than I would have maybe played it, but if he leaves the 5 there and pots the 3, he's got to do the same thing. Get up above the 3 so he can play the 3 to the 1. These are all standard Cowboy shots. Sometimes when you see a player like Ervy playing like this, as fast as this. It might look a bit untidy, and sometimes it ends up untidy, but most of the time he's doing the right thing to get that cue ball into that area that you want, while remembering where the ball is going to get spotted. The only concern I would have is just that, you know, this ball can easily fly off an edge of a ball and start running into pockets, and it's a big loss. It's a big loss, all that effort to get to, what's he at, 39. Again, an easy enough carom to the 5. Watch the cue ball. Now, once again, I'd be more inclined to play the 3 here, because I'm potting it sort of pocket weight. If he's playing the 1, he's trying to get up behind the 3, and he's run into it, and now he'll bail out with the draw shot. Big target, the 5 ball. You virtually can't miss it with the drop. That's the right time to play the bailout draw shot, when you know you can't miss it. Cameroon are up 1-0 against Brazil. That match started, that must be late on in the match. That started at 7 o'clock. But Brazil have already won 2 matches, so they're already through anyway. Well, Ervy's run ends on 44. And Cobra now, in the 4th minute of 9 minutes added on, right? Oh, well, that's a shocker. Mind you, Brazil would have, I bet you Brazil, how many changes did Brazil have in their team? I bet you they put in a stack of changes. I can guarantee they did that, because they've already got themselves through to the next round. So they probably put in about 9 changes. They put in probably the rest of the squad just to give them a game, because at least it gives them a shot at it when the match was of no great value to them. You can do that when you've won your first 2 matches. Keeping all their best players safe from harm is the right idea. And meanwhile, Cobra's visit was 2. It takes him into the caroms. That's a good question. I don't know who could answer that one for you, Interchange X, why the clock counts up and it counts down in the States. I don't know that one. But they've been adding fairly, oh dear, trying to be really delicate there, Cobra. Well, they're adding more time because of the VAR situation. So if ever they've had any debates with the VAR, the video assistant referee, you've got the time allowed for that. Plus, I think they're giving a bit more time for the ball going out of play and stoppages and various stuff. Well, Ervy's done the same thing. Well, this is a good 3-railer every day of the week. Might get 2 points here if it kicks the 5. I had to laugh last night. I don't know whether you guys were paying any attention, but there was a funny little thing about the match between Spain and Japan last night. I was sort of jumping backward and forward, catching bits of the matches, and the Japanese player went in. This was very early on, and the Spanish player went in for the challenge with the Japanese player, and the Japanese were looking for a free kick. They were looking for a foul, and the commentator said, and this is the funny part of it, and I think I'm the only one that spotted it, and I spotted the irony in it. The irony was that the commentator said, bear in mind it was Japan and Spain that were playing, the commentator said, and the South African referee, Victor Gomez, has waved play on, saying it wasn't a foul. And I just thought it was ironic that the commentator described the referee as being South African, and yet he's refereeing a match between Spain and Japan, and he's got a name like Victor Gomez. I just thought that was funny. I mean, there's a bloody Spanish name if ever you've heard it. Victor Gomez, and he comes from South Africa, and he's refereeing a Japan-Spain game. That's going to scratch. And Cobra is getting every opportunity here. The National Fixed League. Well, simple force follow to start, but the 5 ball needs to slow up. The closer it goes to the rail, the more awkward this becomes. But he can get into the cue ball. He's just got to watch he doesn't bump the one and pot it. And this time he's caught it right. So Cobra now moves on to 93. This is not great. He's looking at banking the 5 up the table, going to the rail with right English to kick to the 1. And that looks a good effort. In fact, he's got that pretty well there, that he only brushed the 5. And now he could risk banking the 5 and drawing and kicking into the 1. He's trying to just play the little gentle draw shot. That's worked, and it's also still giving him a chance this time that he can bank the 1 and play the force follow to the 3, and he'll be fine. We don't get immigrants in Scotland, of course we do. We've got probably a fair few Ukrainians have come over. We've always had Poles. Glasgow's got its Asian and Chinese community. Yeah, we've got I think most towns in Scotland have got. I mean, we've got Asian shop owners. A lot of them run the corner shops. They're up to all hours of the night. I think that's a fairly popular thing round about the country. But Glasgow's where most of the nationalities live and hang around. You've got mixed Asian communities. You've got the Jewish community in Glasgow as well. There's loads of Jewish immigrants come over, of course, during the war, and settled over here and bailed out of Germany as quick as they could if they had the chance. So we have a Jewish community in Glasgow. Well, Cobra has finally got himself out. That was a good little run there. He's got himself on the board, and we are 2 hours into this match, and it could be another 2 hours, and we still won't be finished. But I saw something in the news the other day that was it. As well, Mark will have gone to his bed. Steve-O won't be there. It's 9 o'clock. Is Steve-O there? I think Mark will have headed to bed, or he's watching the football. But Leicester, I think, is one city in England that has now got a majority. I think it's a majority. Was it a majority? Well, that's going to scratch. I can't remember whether they said a majority Asian community or just a majority sort of immigrant community, if you know what I mean. All the mixed races. I can't remember. Obviously, England's got a far, far bigger population than Scotland or Wales. Well, the one thing about Cobra is he sticks to the way he plays. He's not going to change anything for anybody because it's mostly working for him. He's hung in the match. He had a nice little finish there to survive. He was always favourite to do it when Ervy just couldn't put anything together when he was stuck back there in 52. Yeah, well, he's certainly got plenty of practice time. Could be a long night here, folks. This Cobra's off and running. Well, I said in that previous rack that there's nothing better that focuses the mind than when you know you've got a big deficit to make up, but maybe Ervy's loose play didn't work for him that time, but it could work for him in this rack. You never know. If he's not going to change tact and stick to his guns, then he could rapidly make some sort of response. The way it's looking is he may well have to. He may well be coming to the table with goodness knows what in the scoreboard from Cobra's side. Well, you pot the one, get yourself over left side, that's fairly obvious. If you're going to pot the 3, you've got to be missing the 5. You can just gently roll it in if you want. The handy thing is he's working with the 3 and 5 here. And this is going to put his score up as quick as you can, working with those balls at the moment. He's a bit straight in the 5. I mean, you know, this is another thing players do in Cowboy. They'll take the 5 ball because it's there for the potting, not thinking about how good they're going to be in the next shot. And Cobra's played the 3, got top side of the 3, got himself a good line in the 3-5. You know, that's where you've got to be just thinking about continuing the run. You've not just got to be thinking about, oh, I better pot the 5 ball, get myself another 5 points. You've got to do the right shot to keep the run. Oh, back to 5 all. Well, at least it's building up that it could be an exciting finish. Still a long way to go though. Cobra goes to 38. Well, this time he can pot the 5 and get out to the right side of the table. He doesn't want to go to the inside of the 1, which is the right side. I don't think he wants to get into this area. He doesn't want to get into this area. I mean, he's taking the one, so that decision means that when the one spots, he wants to either stay low or above and have a line to the 5. You see, this is going to have to go the 2 rails to kick into the 5. But kicking into it from behind is never a bad thing. But he's missed it. And look at the cue ball. It will run all the way. And there you go. There's the pain of Cowboy. If ever you want a perfect example of pain, that's it right there. I mean, he didn't need to have that pace to just bump the 5. And that was as loose a shot as you're ever going to see from Cobra. And that could hurt at the end of the night. He knows it. Well, he's used the immortal words, what a numpty. Because when he thinks back in that, all he had to do was play the kick in behind the 5, just a sort of dead weight pace to make sure the cue ball wasn't running. And he was always guaranteed that if he'd missed it, it would never have got to the pocket, that cue ball. And all that effort has all just blown away in one shot. And now the shoe's in the other foot. What can Ervy do? Well, not a lot. He's only got 8, and he's let Cobra off the hook big time. I think now would be as good a time as any for, first of all, to have a drink. And secondly, we haven't had a look at Friday Night 9 Ball. We've left it quite a while, but let's see how things are going. Well, we've got a hot seat match going on at the moment, and Larry's on the hill. And he lost, what, 39 points or 42 points or something. But Larry's, well, it's now 6-5 between Larry and Slim. Spectre Dawn has obviously lost. Now, where did Spectre Dawn lose? He must have lost quite early because I don't see his name. Oh, Chimpy beat him 7-3 in the first round match. And Spectre Dawn is out the tournament because Bedhead took him out. So it's going to be one Friday night 9 ball tournament that Spectre's not winning for once, and Bedhead is playing Simanx, and Simanx is getting 6 and out. So that's where we are. Well, Ervy's failed already in this rack to actually punish Cobra. He only got the 8 points in that visit. Cobra's blocked himself off in the force follow. And he's just caught the 3. And now he can pot the 3. Now if he pots the 5, he's running away to an awkward angle. He's got to pot the 3 and make sure he goes left or right here, whatever he chooses, but he wants a decent line to play the carom, and that's fine. Oh well, you're okay. You're okay for the Moscone then. Well, is Ervy going to live to regret this, because he's not punished Cobra on a couple of occasions, and Cobra's now, having got back to square one, trying to build up those points. I think that's quite sad that the American networks don't really feature pool. Is there not any network features pool at any time? in the States, apart from like subscription services. I would think most. I mean, there's obviously public broadcasters in the States. You've got what, ABC and CBS. They're still the main terrestrial sort of channels, as you would call them. And goodness knows how many other 100 channels they've got. You've got all local TV and all of that crap going on over there. But I think it's obviously when you look at sport as a whole, billiard games tend to be well down the ladder in terms of popularity for television. You know, the prime sports in the States is obviously basketball, football, baseball, ice hockey, I suppose, now and again, but that's probably more Canada that's interested in that. I'm just assuming that. But I'm disappointed that American TV don't give any sort of credence to the game of pool. But again, it's just the popularity stakes. There might be many millions, hundreds and hundreds of thousands play the game. In terms of a spectator sport on TV, it doesn't demand enough interest. So therefore the TV companies aren't interested in it. Yeah. Well, I suppose over here in the UK, that's guaranteed. All we will see billiard-wise on UK television, national television, whether it be the BBC or ITV, because they're the sort of main, what we call over here, terrestrial stations. They're not on, I mean, they are available on satellite, but they were primarily through your television aerial as it used to be. You will get snooker on ITV, you will get snooker on BBC, but you will only ever see pool in any sort of form. Generally, of course, it's 9-ball on Sky. That's the only place that you will see it. There is a free sports channel available over here where you will see occasional 8-ball pub. You will see that, or black ball. You will see that in free sports occasionally. Did free sport not have... Free sport, I think, I've always had some sort of subscription service. But the last time I checked, I was watching, I think it was black ball I was watching on free sports. Well, Cobra's run is now 47. Yeah, but I think they have they are called free sports, but I'm pretty certain there is some form of subscription service available. Well, the run is now 51. Well, he's had his fingers burned, Cobra, in that first contribution that he made, having scratched. I don't think he's going to let himself fall into that trap again. We should have a VP4 channel on television. We should have a virtual gaming channel on television for virtual billiard sports. That's what we should have. That would bring in the millions of viewers. And I noticed, did Steve say, I think Steve said at one time he mentioned to Sky Sports about providing a service for, you know, like the lines that something like the lines that I use, you know, this sort of thing, and they weren't interested. Well, the interesting thing that I spotted last night was that they had a top-down view of the table, and one of the commentators had marked a cross in the table. So they do have some sort of software. They had marked a cross in the table where the guy that was shooting the shot wanted to get the cue ball into an area, you know, into this sort of area. So he was using some form of telestrator, but quite clearly they weren't interested in what Steve was offering. But they are definitely, they definitely do have their hands on something, some piece of software. That's one thing that I did notice last night. I must admit, they don't use it very often. I only saw it once in the whole evening yesterday. But they do have it available, so they have bought into some sort of service or some sort of provider and probably signed up a deal. What are you talking about, 5 subscribers there, Larry? What did I miss there in the chat? Well, I don't want to miss anything else because Cobra's now got himself to 78 and looking extremely good here. Well, again, just a gentle kick in behind the one. Oh, aye, for the virtual pool channel. Yeah, we'll be lucky to get 5 subscribers. Well, again, to anybody who wasn't in the stream the other day, or whenever I mentioned it, because I can't remember how long ago that was, I have now reached 580 subscribers on YouTube, and that's since I started streaming in 2007, and my target is still 1,000, so I could be here another 15 years. But if you haven't yet subscribed, subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my Twitch channel, and watch on whatever channel you want. It doesn't bother me. Just try and help me get the numbers up. If I get to 1,000, and that's a long way away, then I can get monetization and get the paltry amounts that they pay. It would at least be some sort of income in my retirement. And my retirement's only 7 years away. But you don't hear me begging for subscribers. So click the like button and ring the bell for notifications. That's up to you guys if you want to have notifications. It's up to you if you want to click the like. But the one thing you'll never hear me saying is all the crap that all the other guys do, all the gushy guys. I'm really pumped up to be doing this tonight, guys. Imagine I started doing that sort of stuff. Well, I'm really pumped up to be here for this match tonight. That would do my head in. I couldn't stand 5 minutes of myself doing that. Well, thank you, WizKid. What took you so bloody long? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter to me that you prefer Twitch than YouTube. But if all my Twitch subscribers subscribe to me on YouTube, I'd be well pleased. If you prefer watching on Twitch, that is perfectly fine. But for goodness sake, subscribe to YouTube. Just get my numbers up. Well, Cobra is looking very good to tie this match because this is deja vu from the last rack. Ervy's got a mountain to climb here. He's got a contribution to make, and he couldn't get it done in the last rack. And he's now very much facing a final rack decider here. And Interchange X subscribed as well. Thank you very much. And that is very true, Semi-Pro, what you've just said. You know, probably not till 100, but that is very true. It might. I mean, let's make a couple of assumptions here. Well, 2 or 3 assumptions. First of all, if I don't drop dead between now and when I retire, that's one good thing. The other good thing is whether or not Steve's going to retire. Now, he's probably a slightly nearer retirement than that. In fact, he's pretty much retired as far as probably doing an awful lot of business. I'm making an assumption there. But how long is he prepared to fund the upkeep of the servers and keep VP4 going? Because VP4 is going to have to end at some point. It ain't going to be here forever, as are we all. But if for some reason it was still existing, then it might help my game if I actually can still see, because I'll get a bit more table time. Sergeant Hartman. Oh, you won't hear him on. Well, we've sort of hinted at that, but Steve doesn't say anything. But you know, there's going to come a day when VP4 won't exist, and for that matter, when it doesn't exist, we won't have. This is the thing we've all hinted at the beginning: the fact that we don't have IP to IP in VP4. So if there's no IP facility in VP4 and VP4 shuts its doors, then we don't have VP4. Simple as that. All you have is offline, and that's no good to man or beast. VP3, when GameSpy went down, which it did do frequently, you could always bail out and everybody pile into an IP game and have at least some sort of match play. And you could run tournaments that way as well if you were desperate. And you can still play VP3. And I can't remember the name of the place, but there is a website where you can still play VP3, and there are still people that do it. Well, Ervy's on another contribution here, but he's still way back in 33. Cobra into the caroms, Ervy running loose, and again he's back to 23. Aye, there are people still playing it. Oh, what's it called? I would need to rack my brains to remember the name of the website. There is a website that's got a lot of old games on it, and you can play VP3 online. I'm pretty certain, but if I could remember the name of it, I've got an account there, by the way. I've got an account on the site. I'd probably have to renew my password because I haven't been there for years. But you most certainly can still play VP3 online. And that's also the thing I complained about originally to Steve about VP3. Why, you know, he's still selling VP3 on the site, so why doesn't he provide an online server for it? I think that would have been good, because I think we would still jump backward and forward to VP3. You know, Stubbs certainly would. And I'm pretty certain that there are still guys at a VP3, you know, maybe a little group of 2 or 3 who regularly play VP3 on IP. I'm fairly certain there's still people doing that. Oh, if only I could remember the name of that that website. What the hell was it? Oh, I'm not gonna rack my brains. I'll never remember it. Oh, the VIP ladder is still up. It's still, you know, if you search for the VIP ladder, you'll find it, and you'll see a lot of old names on it, mine included. It's still there. Okay, I'm off. No one listens to me here anyway. Who was that said that? Oh dear. And Ervy's at it again here. Ervy is stalled. He's stalled in 23. I think Ervy's feeling the wear and tear of this match catching up with him. We are 2.5 hours into it virtually. Now, did Cobra get a brush in that 5? We'll soon find out. And yes, he did. And what's more, he can bump this one over to the 5. Yeah, what happened to Germany, Sylvia? There's a question. Well, that'll be the German manager out in his arse, as they say in Scotland. That'll be him gone. That's a sickener. And England will be quite happy about that. That's one less obstacle to run into and have a nightmare against, where England have done in the past. Did England not play Costa Rica over the weekend? Who did England play? Somebody will know. I can't remember. I thought it was Costa Rica. I'll tell you something, the way this World Cup's going, there's not a team in this World Cup can take anything for granted, regardless of who they're playing. Senegal is it they play? And Senegal are having a good tournament. I tell you, there's plenty of room for more shocks in this event. I'll tell you that. Cobra now in 97. Ervy a mile behind. Can't put a run together. And he's going to have a blast trying to make the carom. And Cobra, a light feather edge on the 5. Go to the rail, bump the 3. Oh, he's found a gap between the 2. So again, for about the 4th time, Ervy is back to last chance saloon again, trying to get into this. And Ervy scratched again, and I think Ervy's lost the will to live here. I think this steady play of Cobra is getting to him a wee bit. He's just desperate to score, but in the process of that, he's letting loose, and they're going in. Unfortunately, the only thing that is going in is the cue ball. And Cobra is odds-on certainty to be taking this all the way, although that might be a bit awkward. Well, he could certainly go to the short rail and kick the 2 of them. That's not difficult. I mean, I don't know why he's not looking at that. To me, that's a simple enough shot. Just pick your line off the cushion and split the 2 of them. And you're going to probably send a 5 that way. The problem is, you've got to have a shot in the one. And I'm surprised he didn't risk it. You know, just give it a bump and get the carom. At least get yourself to 100. And in Cowboy, that's still always a danger because, you know, Ervy might kick in here and put something together. There's always that danger. It's unlikely the way things have been going for Ervy. Oh yes, I'm a man of experience. But the only difference with that match was that I wasn't playing well enough to be 2-0 up. I played one good run, the rest was crap. That's the difference. And Ervy having a slam to try and dig out the carom, but it ain't happening. Now, let's have a quick look at this. Well, it's push the 5 to the rail, bit of inside right English, kick the one, that's a shot. Well, he's tried to, I mean, the only danger with that was that it was going to bump the one out of the way, but he's actually found a gap. And now, it's a little gentle cut down the rail. Now, you don't want to do any draw in this at all. It's just pick the line, and Cobra's nowhere near it. He never gave it a chance. Well, I suppose it's inevitable it's going to happen. It's just a matter of Cobra being patient, but he had a perfectly good opportunity there. But he just stunned that far too heavy off that one ball. But he'll get another shot, but where the one ball is at the moment and where the cue ball might finish is a different story. Here's Cobra hooked on the one. So no shot here other than just to call a pocket and hit and hope. Give it a good old thump and get your fingers crossed. He's called it in the left side pocket. Well, it seems like half a dozen visits that Ervy has had and he's put nothing together. Yep, you're right enough, VP Monster, that's exactly it. I'm as guilty as that as anybody, but you know, he's not doing the right thing. I think the main thing to bear in mind though is that he's never really been sitting that ideal, particularly in the caroms recently. He's having to bang the ball to try and get that cue ball to get a line to a carom. Now he's sort of settled here. You know, he's in good shape here at the moment, even though he's only in 12 on this visit. But he's in a good setup here. And I think he's now concentrating to make something a bit more substantial out of this. That needs to keep going, that cue ball. How do you describe aggressively leaving the room? Saying good match, then leaving the room. How do you describe that as aggressively? What, do you sit in the room for 20 minutes and have a chat? No, you get your arse out of there. Aggressively leaving the room. He aggressively said good match and aggressively left the room. Well, talk about being aggressive. I think this is where, well, Ervy's missed the carom. And, well, this is a sitting duck in most Cowboy players' games. This is a sitting duck, this. Scratch off the one. It goes in every time. And there we go. And after 2 hours and 37 minutes, well done to Cobra for hanging in there. And it's now anybody's. And that's a comfortable win in that rack by 30 points. And Cobra's missed the pot. Not only that, he's missed the additional carom to the 5. So here we are. Well, here's the perfect scenario for you, Ervy. You've got Cobra with first shout at it, and he's missed. And you're in, and the table's at your mercy. Now, you've got to make a contribution. You cannot be faffing around with 15 points and nothing to show for it at the end of it. He's got to hold himself together. He's got to hold his nerve. But like all of these tournament matches, when you get into this sort of mix, you know, it's all about the concentration. The cue ball's running loose again. Now he's got the 3 into the side. But where does he go with the cue ball from the 3 in the side? If he goes 5 into the corner, he's bumped to 1. He's actually sitting nice. That could have ended up ugly, but he's still sitting nice. And now he's going to have to pull out another long pot. And you know what they say, you go to the well once too often. It's going to be dry at some point. And there you go. But the only bonus there is he's kept his points. But unfortunately, it's only 18, and that doesn't ramp up the pressure. And now he could well be sitting here for 15 minutes while Cobra gets his act together here, because you can rest assured that Cobra's focused. Don't have any doubt on that. Although he's going to have to pull off a little recovery carom here. Again, edge to the short rail to the kick in behind the 5. Once again, the 5 ball sitting good. The 3 ball goes in the pocket. You stay top side of the 3 if you want. And that's top side of the 3 in the way I'm describing it. And he's got the easy carom. Pushing the 3 down. Well, there was no need to play that at that pace. The fact the 3 ball was always coming down this end. He just had to pick the line from it to make the carom. I don't know why he hit it so hard. To me, that's a big mistake in the shot choice. Well, the shot choice wasn't wrong. Now, that was what he set himself up for, but why he felt he had to blast that as hard, I don't understand. But again, Ervy's going from bad to worse. This time it's only 1. And he's letting Cobra off the hook here. From 2-0 up. And Ervy's falling out this match big time. Because it is a test of your patience. And this is what I talked about prior to this match. I talked about it earlier the day, about the pace that Cobra's going to play at to the pace that Ervy wants to play at, and the impatience of sitting there waiting on Cobra getting things done till you get to the table. You're desperate to have a shot, and when you come to the table, you're not applying yourself the right thought process, and you start over-hitting things, you start getting out of line, you start banging to make the carom, you end up getting some points, and then you end up scratching. And it's taken the scenario that I was thinking could possibly kick in. He's dropped right out of the game. He's making nothing in contributions. He hasn't done for the last 2 racks. And he's certainly not looking favourite here. You know, how much is going to be on this scoreboard whenever he gets his next shot? Right, another quick tab to the Friday night 9-ball after we see this shot, because we must be getting there. Well, One Pocket Slim has got through to the final. He's beaten Bedhead in a final rack decider, and Slim was getting the 8-ball. And it's going to be an early Friday night 9-ball, I'll tell you that, because the final is underway. And Larry and Slim are playing, and Slim is up 1-0, and Larry is getting the last 2. How generous is that? And that's only coming up in 9:45. That's a quick Friday night 9-ball. And we probably won't see any of it the way this is going. The Cobra moves on to 20 on this visit. Now across the table twice to get on this side, the left side from the 3 to the 5. Got the line perfectly, that'll do. Well, you pot the 5. I think you just draw off the 5 and stun down the table so that you're coming down to the bottom side of the 1 and the 3. I mean, you could finish short. He's finishing short. That works as well. Top side definitely guarantees you're going to have a shot. And this is the only thing that Cobra hasn't faced yet, really, is that deeper in the tournament there are guys who are going to be matching him, or more importantly making more substantial contributions during the rack, and the racks will run quicker, simply because when Cobra misses, the other guy is going to be putting something on the board. Now Ervy's a candidate that could have been doing that. I think he did it in the first rack, but since then he's fallen right out of the game. But that won't be the case as the tournament goes on. Well, this run goes to 32 and still counting, but this is now gone out of line. He's gone a bit too far away from the 1. And again, he can go 2 rails in behind the 3 off this 5, or he can just go to the short rail and try and kick the 3. But he's gone direct. And of course, now that he's gone direct, the cue ball's run loose, he's gone awkward, he's blocked out in the 3, he's got a dodgy cut in the 1 into the side, he's going to be running up top. He doesn't want to blast this, he just needs to run up above that kitchen line. See, even that shot, he's got into it too much. And everything's a recovery shot here. You know, nothing's a dead set. This is a recovery. So the first target again is make up the deficit. And it's going to be the draw. Well, you've got to play the one. I mean, you play the one goes on the spot. And he's missed a 3. I mean, that was not the choice for me. I don't know why he didn't play the 1. Leave the 3 where it was. The 1 goes on its spot. You're guaranteed a carom. A blind man could have made the carom. And he chose the 3. I don't know what his logic was in choosing the 3. That's got me totally baffled. What was his game plan after potting a 3? That is strange. And when you're not thinking straight, you do things like that. You maybe lose your bearings as to where you are on the table, and that's a thing I've done plenty of times. That's the only reason I can think he took the 3 ball. I don't understand the rest of it. To me, the most obvious thing was pot that 1 ball up the table, roll through. The 3 ball is sort of there. The 1 ball goes on its spot. You've got the carom. What's the problem? Well, Ervy's about to find out the problem. The first problem is he's let Cobra back in, and the second one is he doesn't know what the outcome of this is going to be, but it doesn't look good. Well, we've still got 10 in Twitch, not in Twitch, 10 in YouTube. That includes me, of course. The stream seems to be running pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's about 4-second delay on YouTube. Now, is that going to have enough legs? I don't think it is. So, Ervy again has been reprieved. Only 17. First target again. Get rid of the deficit. Well, this time he's played something a wee bit more sensible. Killed the cue ball to stay below the 3. Or above the 3, I should say. Well, this is going to be difficult, whatever he does. I mean, if he gently rolls the 5 in and stays this bottom end of it, he's possibly get the 5 to the 3, as long as it holds up. Now, again, is it wise to go to the rail and kick in behind it than try and go direct? Well, he's got the bonus of the pot plus the 5. And now he must have a line top side from the 3, and that's not handy. It's finished a wee bit awkward. And that's a good recovery. So 5 ball, and look at where it's spotting and where your line is, and think of where you want the cue ball. Somewhere in here, even over here wouldn't be bad. You know, over by the 3. Well, he's leaving himself, to me, too straight here. Yeah, again, that's just a big fail. You know, he could easily have potted that and squeezed out an angle to get that cue ball over this side. You know, to get here, to be able to play the cue ball from the 5 to the rail to the 1. And again, look what happens when you start running out of shape and trying recovery shots. Disaster very often follows. And he's ran loose. He made the carom, but the track of the cue ball had enough momentum, and he's lost all the points. And he's back to square one again. And it's all turned into a bit of a nightmare for Ervy. And of course, Cobra has that tournament winning steel about his game, about going deep into tournaments, about hanging around for 2.5, 3 hours. He's had plenty of that experience, and that's going to see him through, more than the fact that he's also made contributions when it mattered. When he's been down and he's been threatened, he's responded. And to the contrary of that, Ervy has just fallen to pieces here. He's come apart like a cheap suit. And there's a 30-point gap and counting. Trying to just keep the 5-ball in play. It almost got away from him there. And he's left it a wee bit awkward. It's just come up the table a wee bit further than he would have liked, but he's still fine. But he can also still stay below the 3 if he wants. He can still stay this side, depending on the pace he plays. And that'll do, that will work. You know, the line from the 5 to the 1, you can't miss this. Because this is just simply how you hit that 5 at the right dead weight pace to drop onto the 1. You want to hit this 1 slightly at either side, so you're pushing it one direction like that. Because then you know you've got a shot. Right, now you also have to keep your bearings and know that the 1's spotting here. And where's your next line for the carom? So he's looked at the 5. And I think he might be dead in the water here. Let's have a look. Oh, he might be able to squeeze this. He might be able to. This is where you have to convince yourself you can, but he's convinced himself he can't. It looks far too tight. So the 2 rails kick in behind the 1. The bonus also a pot and a 3-ball. Yeah, this is still going. We are... well, let's just say we're 5 minutes short of 3 hours. But I reckon it won't be much longer, because I think by the time Cobra's finished here, he'll be into the caroms. Oh, I will be going to bed as soon as this is over. In fact, now that you mention it, let's have a quick look. And we'll see that Larry has got a 5-1 lead at the moment. Bearing in mind he's getting last 2 against Slim. Now, also, just before everybody starts bailing out, we'll just tab back to the Cowboy. Remember, tomorrow night we've got week whatever it is in the league night. We're getting towards the playoff stages, but we've got a match tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock between Spud Boy and Sylvia. That could go on for a while, with the greatest respect to both players. That could go on for quite a while. But the main event is on Sunday at 6 PM, and that will be between Fast Eddie and Interchange X. That's a match to watch. And then we've got a match between Bedhead and Casino Jim Sunday at 6:30. But the one we'll focus on Sunday will be Fast Eddie Interchange X. Should be a good match-up. And Cobra just gets the brush. Now, what did he play there? Did he play the pot and the 3 and he tried to brush the 5 because he missed the 3? I've totally lost what happened there. Anyway, he's on 83. Ervy's in last chance saloon. And will be for every shot that he's going to play. Well, the 5 balls come into play, and again he can go just top side of the 5 and no more. And that'll work. Well, I'm actually, with the greatest respect, Sylvia and Spudboy, I'm thinking of watching the football tomorrow night. I don't care what game it is, but yeah, it might not be the most exciting event to watch. Well, Ervy, you've just simply got to do it, my friend. If you want to stay in the winner's side, you've got to pull it out the fire. This is another test of your staying powers. You know, everything's went down the pan for the last hour and a half. And, well, I was trying to build up some momentum there for Ervy, and that's done him straight away. He's missed the 5. The visit ends on 23. He's still, what, 29 points short of Cobra. And Cobra has an easy starter with a carom to follow. Maybe Cobra's fallen asleep. He might have nipped out for a drink. No, there he is. Well, the 1 goes in his spot, so a guaranteed carom pretty much to back him up here. Well, it's good that you got your excuse in early interchange X. That's always good to lay that on the table. Get the excuses out sooner rather than later. That's always a plan. No, but I think it'll be good. Once you start concentrating, all the pain will go. So Cobra pretty much on the brink here. He might want to think about that 3 ball fairly quickly, because the problem is, if he takes the 5, that gets him to 90, that's fine. But the 3 ball is not in a great spot, really, to make a lot out of this visit. He might have been wiser to get this 3 ball back into play and then try and work out the other way of getting to 90. I mean, this is the easy way of getting to 90, but it's not necessarily the best way to keep balls alive in the table. And this might be a good move here. You know, don't take the easy 5 points to get to 90. Think about keeping going. And the only danger here is how he catches the 5. We all know what can happen. If he hits it too thin, he could skim off the 5 into the pocket. If he hits it the other side, the side nearest us, he could pot the 5. And commentator's choice, it was the first option. He's caught the top side and scratched. So everything I said there worked out, in the sense that he made the right choice in keeping the 3 in play. He's probably kicking himself because he didn't take the 5, but I don't think that was a mistake. It was always going to be how he catches that ball, and he caught it on the top side and scratched off it. But I think Cobra's well placed now to think that I think he doesn't have to be really overly concerned. I think it'll be a big surprise if Ervy lands on 90 here before Cobra now. There's still that possibility. Now, what the hell happened here? Was he trying a thin carom and he just missed the ball, or did he just deliberately pot the cue ball? Somebody explain that to me there. He went for the thin one, I think. Well, Cobra's again. Oh, Europe 6-5 up. It's getting exciting again. You know, when you think about it, when was the last time? I don't think there's been any time in virtual pool where Ervy has played a match that's lasted this length of time. I mean, he's probably played maybe a couple hours of snooker, but maybe that's just been in a challenge room. Has he ever played like a race to 5 or a race to whatever? Probably not. So this is his biggest test of stamina he's ever had in virtual pool. Well, is there life still in Ervy? He's on 70. He's run his 16. Has he come back to life here? Because Cobra missed a fairly easy carom. It wasn't that difficult. That might just, maybe is it going to spark some life into Ervy to get to 90 before Cobra? This is an absolute must. It's a no-brainer. He must get to 90. He's in good shape here. He needs to come back off that 5 ball. Just a little dink and a little dig just to come back off it. See, again, he's letting the cue ball run. Okay, he's got a shot, but he's made it. Well, he's fine, but he's just letting that cue ball run a bit loose when he needs to get a hold of it. And now he's got the problem that you get in Cowboy, where you've got yourself out of shape and you're down on 86. You can't pot the 5 ball, and he's missed the 3. He would have had the bonus point to take him to 90 there, but the biggest fail of all is that he hasn't got to 90. And in a second or two, Cobra may well be there, but the 5 ball's now dead. That's dead in the rail. So the first priority here is get that carom onto the 5, get it out into the table. Well, at least it's in a better place now than where it was. And of course, Cobra will be doing everything to make sure he doesn't let the cue ball run loose here and make the extra carom, because this will take him to 90. And again, careful with the angle on this 1 ball. No, now it's a bit tricky. How does that look? he's going to catch the point, and there's no worry there. He's catching the point, but he just hasn't got the 5 ball thick enough there. Well, he's on 91, but this match can go either way right now, but it's all up to Ervy. That takes him to 87. And he's in no man's land here, and this is no good. He tried to draw to the rail and kick the 5. He's got it. This is no holds barred. This is just going for it. He's now in 88. Simple pot into the side, but got to do something with the cue ball. I think he should have stayed below the 1. Again, the pace has to be right on this. He's going to have to watch that 5 and watch how he hits the 1. And again, it's got to be a recovery. Now, it's got to be a 2-in-1 shot here. Must be a 2-in-1. That's the line you take. That's the line. You've got to watch the hit. You don't need any English. You just need to pick the line. And this is falling into place here with this 5-in-1. He's now all square. Now it's at some point, and that point has just come, he's going to end up having to use that 3 ball. And the 5 ball will be going to the side rail. I don't think he's going to hit this too hard. And he'll have the 5 to the 1, but he has to watch the pace in this. I think you've got to tweak this with the spin and let the spin do the work rather than using pace. Oh, he's missed it. Big fail. Oh, that's his chance, maybe gone. Will he get another go at it? The 3 ball's not handy where it's sitting. Well, bump the 5 around the rail and take a risk and have a little draw into the 1. And this, if it just slows up, well, it's a guaranteed carom as long as he doesn't catch the tit of the pocket there. The chances are, though, he's going to send this down towards the pocket. And he's caught the tit. And Ervy lives again. The run is only 2. And we're all square. And this is a good carom to the 5. Needs to bump it off the rail. He's still good. He can just chip this. He's going to avoid the double kiss. He doesn't want to be playing any draw into the 5. You just need to tickle the 5 and just let it drift down to the 3. You're not going to have a good follow-up shot, I don't think. He's caught the tit as well. Unbelievable. Well, that 3 ball is proving a big problem. 2 goes at it, both of them, and they've caught the tit twice. And, well, there's the danger of blasting balls. The 3 ball is pretty much dead. The 5 ball goes in. Cobra gives Ervy his lifeline. Ervy misses the 1 and pots the 3. The 3 will spot, and Cobra's got a good start. And everything's happening here. Well, who's going to win this? You cannot predict this. Oh, the 3's got in as well. Oh, Cobra's been by far the better player, no doubt about that, Bedhead. Most certainly. And Ervy's at it as well, and nobody wants to win this. They're doing their best to pot something or scratch every time. Well, this has got to be wafer thin, or the force follow. Yeah, that's Slim with the tactical withdrawal there as well, Sylvie, I'm afraid. Slim's going to be busy at work. I'm possibly watching the football, keeping an eye on my VP4 TV team. Oh dear, Cobra's at it again. Would you believe the sequences we're seeing here in this match? This is unbelievable. I mean, it's amazing what's going on. Oh dear. Oh, this 5-ball is looking good for Ervy, as long as he doesn't pot it. I mean, he's going to send this in the wrong direction, this 5-ball, I think. Well, you know, he's fine, and it's coming round nice as long as it doesn't lob in front of the 3 like that. Oh dear. Well, he's trying to get the little chip, and he's set it up for Cobra now. A 3-point lead. Yeah, Earl's been struggling. Well, this is... he's got to watch the bank on this 5 if he's stunning down to the 1. Because I'm pretty certain he'll end up banking it even though he's not trying to. Everything else has happened. Well, he's played it gentle enough. Just caught it and no more. And also, the 5 is still in play. He's got the gentle carom to the 3. He cannot hit this with any weight because he'll send the 3 into the hole. He's just got to make the point and then worry about what follows. And he's done his best to knock it dead. And now it is dead. The 3-ball is out the game. You can forget about that. Well, Slim, what was the result of the Friday night 9-ball? I haven't tabbed out. Well, that's a good little extra point there for Cobra. It takes him into the lead. But where's the next one coming? Oh, I'm not in the 9. Well, what's the score? It was like 5-1 to Larry, I think. Well, Cobra just making sure he didn't lose them. So he's got a 1-point lead. The 5-ball is barely in play. The 3-ball definitely isn't. Oh, this is going to pot. Well, is Cobra going to play the stun? The chances are he's sending this one very close to the 3 doing that. Oh, I think it's caught the point there, did it? And now the 1-ball is out the game. But Cobra's in the driving seat. He's got the vital 2-point lead. We're now 3 hours and 15 minutes and counting in this match. Well, the safe shot would be actually just to roll in behind the 1. So it would. And the one thing about doing that is it might encourage Ervy to bring the 1-ball into play. I mean, Ervy doesn't want to leave the 1-ball sitting there because this match is never going to finish if either of these balls stay there. I mean, where is Cobra going to get a carom? He's going to try and thin the edge of the one just to get it out into the table. He took a run at it. He might get a second prize. No, it's just brushed the one. And now look at the mess. Well, Ervy's pushing the 5 around the table. This could end up getting in the hole, but he's trying to run through and catch the one. He's got to catch it inside. Oh dear. Well, he's got the point. Well done to Larry. Unlucky Slim. Larry getting the last 2 was generous enough handicap. Well, Cobra's trying to leave it really awkward, and that is probably as awkward as you can get. That was a good move. And I'll tell you something, Ervy could be playing his last shot right now, because that one ball is the out shot. And Ervy can't play those 2 balls to be leaving Cobra a carom. And that's exactly the scenario we've got here. Well, sooner or later, it's going to drop. Yeah, it's edging ever closer. And Cobra may well just feather the tit and in between the one. And Ervy may well do the same. Yeah, and it goes. And that's called Cobra's bluff, because he's going to have to go for the stun or run around 2 rails to come to the 5. He's got the hit. He moves to 99. And he can thin the 5 to the 3. Oh, but he's blocked himself out in the 1. And Ervy is still alive in this match. And of course, Cobra must priority hit the 1 ball, whatever happens. He must hit it, or his points are down the pan. And he's back to 98. So the priorities hit the ball. You know, call a pocket by all means, but hit a ball. Now, where did he call it? Well, the 1's gone in. And Ervy has a carom from the 5. Oh, he's missed it. No, the jump shot isn't available, Sylvia. No jump cues. Well, this is the post follow into the side pocket. This, from 2-0 down. I don't think he's got the right line at the moment. That might be a bit better. And that's perfect. Has it got the legs? Yes, it has. So Cobra, after 2 hours and 21 minutes, has come back from 2 racks to 0 down. And he was always the winner at the end of the day. You know, Ervy got himself into the caroms. It ended up going crazy in the amount of scratches and mistakes that were made. Yeah, 3 hours 21, wasn't it, or something like that. So Cobra marches on, and I'm sure the two of them are their brains will be boiled with that match. So let's have a look at the bracket, and let's see how that shapes up, because Cobra is now stepping up a gear as far as the quality that he's playing, because Mr. Fox in his last match against Tommy was putting the points in the bag, and that was an epic match, that the best match of the tournament. Mr. Fox stole it in the end. I think he ran like 3 or 4 at the end just to pinch it off Tommy. Best match by far of the tournament. And that's now who Cobra has to play, and that is going to be a match-up. And the same things apply. Is Mr. Fox going to play a much steadier game? Well, I think he will. I think he's going to be a tough test for Cobra to overcome. But he's overcome the test tonight. But really, Ervy lost it right early on in this match. I mean, from being 2-0 up, he then just fell right out the game, really. He couldn't put anything reliable together. And Cobra just plodded on. Did what he had to do. Could have went either way at the end, but he survived. He's come through it, but he'll do well to come through this match with Mr. Fox. That's going to be his major test in this side of the tournament. And that is it as far as anything else tonight goes, because the matches, as I said, over the weekend, you've got Spud Boy and Sylvia tomorrow at 7. You've got Fast Eddie and Interchange X on Sunday at 6. And also half an hour later, Bedhead and Casino Jim. But the main focus over the weekend is Fast Eddie Interchange X. I will definitely be there for that one. And I am now heading to bed, folks. So with that, I'm going to say thanks again for your company, guys. Thanks for those that are on Twitch but subscribe to YouTube. It's much appreciated. That'll take me to 582 at least. Still a long way to go to 1,000. I don't think I'll ever make it, but you can always live in hope. Right, I'm off to bed, up to work at 4 o'clock. So I will bid you good night and take care, and we'll see you again soon.